to Compassion Speaks, where we give a voice to the community. I'm your host, Stephanie Player, and today on our show we have Nick Lund, the Vice Chairman for the Arizona Game and Fish Heritage Fund Public Advisory Committee. Welcome.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We were just kind of chatting about all of the different things that you wanted to mention today. So let's just start off from the get-go. What is the Arizona Game and Fish Heritage Fund?
It's actually money from the Arizona lottery that years ago the voters in Arizona said, if we're going to have this lottery, let's take some of this money and turn it back to things that support the state. So $10 million of the lottery money annually goes to Arizona Game and Fish, and they use this in terms of research about wildlife, preserving wildlife habitats, helping people have access to see wildlife and engage with wildlife, inform students about wildlife, educate students. Part of the money, some of it goes for research and personnel, things that Game and Fish does, programs that they have, but part of it is for the Heritage Fund grant program. And the Game and Fish started the grant program in 1992.
Oh, wow. And
since that time, they've awarded almost 800 grants and given out more than $14 million in grants, wow, which is spread all over the state depending on who applies for the grant and how well their grant application is written, what they're proposing. For example, last year, 2013, the grant front cycle gave out a total of $432,000 in grants.
Wow.
And that's what we want to talk about today. What are the grant opportunities and who's eligible to apply for them? How can they apply?
Right. Well, I'm sure that has piqued some interest to some of the viewers as to how they could get involved. Maybe they're already interested in that type of project for their organization, or maybe within the school systems. So let's talk about what are the different grant categories that people can apply for.
Okay, now I'm going to read some of this, Stephanie, because Game and Fish has over the years developed it, and they have specific titles for these things, which I don't memorize, but we'll talk about each one of them.
Sure.
But the categories as they're listed with Game and Fish are environmental education, outdoor education, schoolyard habitat, urban wildlife, public access, and then there's one of them that's kind of long, but it's identification, inventory, acquisition, protection, and management of sensitive species. So we could start with that one. If you have a sensitive species, a species that's endangered, or that you're trying to build back up the species, if they can acquire the habitat for that species, Game and Fish can acquire that habitat, or some agency wants to take on that project, they can apply for these kind of grants through the Heritage Fund to help acquire the land or the habitat, to actually restore it, and sometimes you have to go back in and reintroduce the native species of plants that were in there, etc. Yeah, so whatever it needs to actually foster the development and preservation of that specific species.
Oh, wow. How interesting.
Yeah, these are really interesting grants when you read some of them and what people propose. Urban wildlife. As we develop more urban areas, we're encroaching in many ways on a lot of the wildlife habitats. And so what Game and Fish is looking for is grantees that will try to, what's my best word here, try to make the interface between urban and wildlife more compatible. They're not saying we don't want to develop the urban areas, it's that how can we do this such that they're compatible.
Right, minimizing the impact.
Minimizing the impact, exactly.
Gotcha.
Now, Schoolyard habitats. There are a number of schools all over the state of Arizona that have actually established wildlife habitats on their school grounds so that they can educate students about wildlife. The students can see the wildlife. You know, there might be bird feeders. It might be feeding areas for some of the various wildlife that are in that area, elk, deer, etc. So they actually to have them on the school grounds so they can include environmental education as part of their curriculum.
Wow.
And they can invite in speakers, they can invite in some of the special folks from Arizona Game and Fish who are very knowledgeable in these areas that can come in and give programs to the students right there on their own school grounds. One of the things that our group tracks that builds the trails up here, we built trails on Blue Ridge Middle School grounds. And what they're planning to do is to eventually, they hope to have an outdoor amphitheater where they can take students out to that amphitheater and have programs about wildlife. They can apply for these kinds of grants to help develop programs like that.
Oh, wow.
Environmental education, fairly obvious. Game and Fish started a new grant category last year of outdoor education. And that one, to me, would be something that would be especially appealing to the various schools in this area, where they can provide programs to students about wildlife, wildlife habitats, interfacing with wildlife, etc., at some of the special places that we have up here in the White Mountains, like the White Mountain Nature Center, like the Game and Fish S.A.F.E that's over near Alpine. They could take students on field trips to these areas for special programs about wildlife, and they can apply for these grants to do it. And the thing that's kind of amazing is the grant application is a little 2-page application.
Oh,
it's really not
appealing.
one. And you know about applying for grants.
Yes.
Some of them are very complex. They're very hard. These are very straightforward.
Right. Well,
Now
that's
you have
amazing.
to,
It makes
just
it
like with
easy.
any grant application, you really have to follow the directions. You have to really fill them out, and they have some specific criteria. But all of those are very straightforward. They're listed on the Game and Fish website, how to apply for them, who to contact if you have questions, etc. So
Awesome.
I know I may be talking too much, but go ahead.
No, and we'll have the Arizona Game and Fish website at the end of the segment, so that way
Excellent.
the viewers can look and see if they're interested. They can write that down at the end of the segment,
Good.
rather than having to remember to write it down right now. So I think that the points that you're making about the different educational programs is so appealing up here. There's so many different opportunities that schools can take advantage of with that, and
Exactly.
it might be something that they're already doing too. They might already be taking field trips to the White Mountain Nature Center. They may already be delving into that with the students on their different field trips.
Right.
And now they're able to look into this opportunity to obtain specific money to help to support that internally.
Exactly.
And we all love that capability of being able
Well,
to be funded to do something that maybe we're already doing or we're wanting to do.
And it could even improve what we're doing. It's something that is available. It's actually the funds are there. The application is a fairly straightforward thing. I brought a few examples. Well, first of all, let me go over who can actually apply for the grants,
Yes.
because Game and Fish is fairly specific on this. So I'm going to read this list. Eligible applicants include the federal government or any federal department or agency, Indian tribes, all the departments, agencies, boards, and commissions of the state of Arizona, counties, school districts, cities, towns, all municipal corporations, and any other political subdivisions of the state of Arizona. And let's say that you, for example, you took the White Mountain Nature Center. White Mountain Nature Center here is a nonprofit 501c3 organization. They didn't happen to fall in that list of what I just read.
Right.
But they could easily partner with, for example, the town of Pine Top, Lakeside. They could partner with the Forest Service.
With the county.
With the county,
Right.
exactly.
So there's opportunities, even though you may not fall into those specific categories, you can still partner up with maybe somebody who does fall into that category and partner together to be able to apply for this grant together.
Exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful. That really opens the doors for a lot of programs
For a
too.
lot of programs. The applications for the 2015 cycle they'll open the window for the applications on July 1st, and they'll close it on September 30th this summer.
Okay.
So one of the reasons that we're doing this program today is to inform people in time so that if they want to apply for this, they'll have the information, where to go in the website, who to contact. There are people within Game and Fish that are the grant coordinators, and they're willing to talk with people about this if they have questions about it. One of the things that I always encourage people to do is to send in your application early, because if they get a chance to review it and they happen to notice that you missed one of the criteria or they need more information, sometimes they can get back in touch with people and say, if you refine this, it'll improve your grant application.
Oh, wonderful. So July 1st is when it opens, and it closes?
The end of September, September 30th.
End of September. Okay, so now you guys know when you need to get started on this as soon as possible. You can get the application now and start working on it, but you can't submit it until July 1st?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
Wonderful. And we'll have that information at the end of the segment too. I just think that this is a wonderful opportunity for our community to get involved in. The money is there. They just need to ask for it, and they need to propose how the money should be used to better these different types of systems in our local area here in the White Mountains.
Absolutely. And to think, as you well know, grant applications are very competitive.
Yes.
So you have to make sure that your grant is well written, well presented, well worded, and it meets very specifically each one of the guideline criteria and the questions that are asked for in the application. Again, it's a very straightforward grant, but you can't omit things. You've got to go in there. One of the things that they're always looking for in this grant is, what is your match? What are you going to do to help support the grant? Well, a lot of time that match is your people. How much time are they going to spend on the effort? What are they going to do? Are you going to bring in people from the community to help with the application? For example, a school, if you're going to take students on a field trip, then maybe you want some of the parents to go along as chaperones for the students. That time counts as matching funds. So to really put those match, and if you have a match that is less than what you're asking for in the grant, you get a certain number of points. If you have a match that's equal to the grant, you get more points, and if you have a match that's over the grant, you get even more points.
Exactly. So there's a lot of dynamics
pay attention to these
that.
things. Yes.
Well, thank you, Nick, so much for coming and joining us today and educating our viewers about this. We'll have the information after this segment wraps up. So thank you again.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
Do we have time to talk about a couple of the grant that were awarded? Are we out of time?
Unfortunately, we're out of time this
That's okay.
time. We'll have to get that information over to the website, and they can check it out more.
They can find that information. All of it's on the website,
Wonderful.
even the list of all the grants from last year.
Great deal. Well, thank you again, Nick. I appreciate you coming by and telling us about this today. And stay tuned. We'll be right back with Camp Tadier. Welcome back to Compassion Speaks. Joining us now is Jessica Waldrop, the Rental and Events Coordinator from Camp Tadier. Welcome.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for being here. We're excited to have you today.
We were excited for the invitation, so thank you so much.
Of course. So tell us, what is Lions Camp Tadier?
Lions Camp is a Lions camp for special needs children and adults throughout Arizona.
Oh, wonderful. So is this individuals that are just in this area, or who all do you serve?
We serve individuals with special needs from 7 on up anywhere in the state of Arizona. So we serve local families and also Phoenix, Tucson, and surrounding areas.
Okay, wonderful. So what type of special needs are you able to accept?
Well, we accept total care campers, so that means that they need assistance with many of their functions, their life functions. We handle catheters, G-tubes, diapers, feeding, communications, and we also serve campers with spina bifida, cerebral palsy, some autistic kids on a case-by-case basis, all kinds of special needs, really.
Okay. And how is this program funded?
We're run purely by donations, Stephanie. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we're supported by the Lions, by donations and fundraising that they do, and also what we do on our own all over the state. We do a 5K walk and roll down at Tucson. We do many golf tournaments. We have a golf tournament here in June coming up, first ever in this area at Torreon, June 27th. And we have just all kinds of donation programs available. We have, if you go to our website on ArizonaLionsCamp.org, you can donate there. A monthly deduction from your checking account if people can't afford a large sum but want to help, and they can do that on a monthly basis. That really helps a lot of people. Also, the Working Poor Tax Credit is something you can do to help donate to camp, and that's in increments of I believe $400 and $800, and that is not competing with the schools. So a lot of people want to make sure they get their donations in to support their children at their individual schools, and that's important. But they can also help Camp Tadia through the Working Poor Tax Credit.
Oh, wow. Maybe something that someone wasn't aware of before, that those tax dollars can go towards every year. That's a really amazing opportunity there.
It is, because it's not, it's a dollar for dollar match. So it's not even, it helps them with their taxes, and it helps us, and it doesn't feel like they're putting out any. So it really helps mutual parties.
Right. Both benefit from that. So how many weeks do you plan on running this summer?
Well, so far we're still, we would like to run the full summer, but right now we're not fully funded. We're planning on running for so far the first 4 weeks. That's paid for, but we still need to raise about $80,000 to run the last 3 weeks of the summer in July.
Wow.
So it's quite a hurdle, but we're confident that people will come together and understand just how vitally important this camp is to our community and throughout Arizona. 150,000 Arizonans are actually eligible to come to our camp, and that's a huge number.
Wow,
So,
that is amazingly huge. How many total do you hope to have for this summer?
We're hoping to serve at least 375 campers. That would be the 7 weeks, that if we can get funded for those 7 weeks.
That would be great. I'm hoping that by bringing this up today, letting them know about the golf tournament on the 27th of June that they can get involved in, or just making a private donation through your website, stopping by at your location, however they would like to get involved to let this program really fulfill what it wants to do in whole, not just for 4 weeks, but for a full 7 weeks of the summer.
Yes. That's our hope too, because it's invaluable in so many ways. And it was founded by Lion Jim Busey in 1958, and since then we've never charged a fee for our special needs campers to come. So this is actually the money that you guys are needing for funding is actually funding campers to not have to pay out of pocket to have this experience during the summer. That's correct. So you are funding individuals with special needs to be able to enjoy this camp that you guys have, that we have up here in the White Mountains, and to provide this service to these individuals and these families. Yes, absolutely. That sums it up. I hope that we're able to get some funding as a result of this and bringing awareness to it to our viewers today. And I hope that our viewers also tell somebody else in their lives about it that might be interested. Maybe they too have involvement with special needs individuals, and this can be their way of supporting your mission and what it is that you guys do, and helping to keep that going on year after year. Yes, it's a legacy that we want to continue. It's just a beautiful place.
Wonderful. Yes, and if you haven't been there, you should come and check it out because it's kind of nestled behind the trees. You don't really see it from the highway there. But when you get back there, it is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, the public is invited to come out and see June 7th. We do an annual open house, and we've been doing it for many years. I've been with the camp for 3 years, and primarily a lot of Lions know about it and they'll come, but the public doesn't know that they're able to come in, take a tour. We really like to share the experience with them so they can understand just how vital it is to the community. We have a beautiful dining hall. We have a large recreation hall with a stage, and we can accommodate about 125 to 150 people in each of those buildings for local events. So as long as we're not running camp, which typically runs from about Memorial Day weekend till about the first week of August, outside of those times, I can accommodate the public with birthday parties, business events, meetings, family reunions, church groups, church events. I mean, the capacity is just, people don't realize. I mean, we have a beautiful covered ramada with picnic benches and a grill out there. We have a campfire, a dedicated campfire pit with benches around it. We have a small chapel. We have lots of hiking trails. We have 4 large dormitories that can sleep about 150 people, plus 2 small cabins for rent too. So the grounds are just amazing for an event as well, and those rental dollars that we charge come right back to the camp to keep those campers coming, because we don't want to be short $80,000 year after year. I mean, it's just been tougher with the economy to keep those funds coming in, and so we really don't want to be in that position. So we're really trying to develop our rental program to offset that.
Well, and that's, I'm sure, one way as the summer program ends and we go into winter and people are looking for cabin rentals during the winter time. They're coming up here visiting, or they have family coming up here visiting. What an awesome opportunity. And at the same time, you're helping to support a local program. So what a wonderful way to put your money to work for you and also benefit yourself. And then local businesses too, being able to utilize the space if they need to have a meeting there with several people, maybe several hundred people. You know, and what a beautiful, you know, you're not right off of the highway. You're back, like I said, nestled in the trees.
We're actually on 88 acres.
80 acres, wow.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so beautiful back there. I just urge people to go back there and check it out. Drive around, come and talk with you, get a tour, get shown around to all the different parts of the facilities there, so that way they can really get an idea of what you guys have to offer that is related to the mission, because the funding helps to support it, but at the same time you're providing a separate service to serve the other members of the community and different businesses in the community. So really cool. So what is the ratio during camp? What is the ratio of staff to camper?
That's an important question, because a lot of parents are nervous about sending their special needs camper to us for a week without mom and dad or their caregiver. It can be very nerve-wracking for the parents. And so we're based on what kind of special needs we're dealing with each week. It can be a 1-to-1 ratio, which is nice, one camper to one counselor, or 1 to 3 if they're more ambulatory.
Gotcha.
So if we have a week where there's a lot of wheelchairs, then we're closer to 1-to-1. And so that they get a special friend to be with them through the week. And they come in on a Sunday and they go out on a Friday, and they bond so much so quickly in that time. It's just, it's a beautiful thing to see. And one of my favorite things to do is I'm very blessed that my whole family can participate at camp. And so we go up to the dining hall and I watch these counselors feed these campers, and it's just an amazing thing to see. It can be really emotional up there because you can see the love flowing from them, and it's just neat because these counselors are anywhere from 18 to 25 years old. And so to see such selflessness in them is just beautiful.
That's absolutely amazing. Where do you find these staff members?
They come from all over in Arizona, all the universities. We have Grand Canyon University kids, U of A, and NAU, ASU. Sometimes we even have counselors from out of state, but pretty much the universities in Arizona.
Oh, what a great way to utilize our local resources of students that are wanting to get involved and help. That's excellent. What kind of activities can campers
Can you count
expect
on?
to experience?
Well, I tell you, it's nonstop fun. I have two little girls, 9 and 6, and they like to go participate. And sometimes they can't even do all the activities. They come back exhausted because it's just fun, fun, fun. They start at 8 in the morning. They have breakfast. All of our dorms have a mascot. So we have superheroes, and we have princesses, and we have pirates, and we have ninjas.
Wow,
And
how
they'll
fun.
oftentimes come to breakfast dressed up in crazy outfits, crazy hair, when you name it, and just to make the atmosphere fun. And they have a theme each week. So sometimes it's Disney, sometimes it's Doctor Who, sometimes it's spies and sci-fi and Star Trek. And so they do this all summer long. And so they'll come and they'll get in their little costumes, and they have stuff for the campers too. So, or campers that have been coming for a couple of years will oftentimes bring their own costumes
Oh, I bet. They're
and
prepared
accessories.
for it.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a contest to be as crazily dressed as you can, which shows in my daughter's choice of clothing much throughout the year. They're walking around dressed like counselors. It's pretty fun.
Well, that is just so amazing. I'm so glad that you guys are around to be able to provide this service to the community members and beyond. You know, this is a service that is unlike any other up here on the mountain, and it requires the community to keep it going. So
It does.
thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you taking the time to come and tell us about it. And we'll have website information and contact information at the end of the segment on the screen for people to be able to get a hold of you and know how they can continue to support you.
That'd
So,
be wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Stephanie.
And I wanted to take a moment to let you all know that the White Mountain S.A.F.E House is having a Bingo for Charity fundraising event on Saturday, July 12th at 6 o'clock at the Hampton Inn in Show Low. This is another way to get involved with the S.A.F.E House and our mission to help victims of domestic violence, and a fun way to spend the night with us. Thank you for joining us today, and be sure to tune in next month to hear Compassion Speak.